I'm Robert Cardoza, and you're watching On the Street. This is the intersection of business and politics. This is where we go out there and analyze all of the information that's available and try and give you the honest-to-God truth so you can make a prudent decision how it affects your business and your personal life. Right now, we're going to talk about the good news and the bad news. And you know, we're talking about, are you ready for the next bailout? Think about it. Another bailout? Let's talk about AIG for a minute, and let's talk about their relationship with Bank of America. Do you remember when we were going through this horrible banking crisis and banks were folding just every minute? Well, what wound up happening, there was an arrangement for Bank of America to buy all of the mortgage paper from AIG. Now, as that process was going, Bank of America got a little antsy about it, and they said, hey, you know what? We don't think we're going to do this, federal government. And so the federal government, in their wisdom, I put that in quotations, says, hey, you know what, Bank of America, let's do this. We'll indemnify you of any losses that you might have on that paper. Now, keep in mind that another $187 billion was given to AIG for the bailout. AIG is still around. So what did we see recently that's going on? One of the good things, and that's Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren's a new senator. She's on the banking committee. And boy, I want to tell you, she is tough. She's holding these people's feet to the fire. She wants to know why some of these banking operations weren't prosecuted. Well, what's coming up now? Bank of America had their debt forgiven, $43.5 billion in bad mortgage debt. Yep, government came through. There was a lawsuit that was put forth against them. The government canceled or waived that lawsuit and forgave $43.5 billion in debt to Bank of America, which was actually the indemnification of those losses that the government said they were going to have. But think about it. $43.5 billion in debt, it's gone. In addition to, Bank of America had to take some of this bailout money at the beginning, and they did pay that back, short the $43.5 billion. AIG has already paid back their $187 billion in debt. Somewhere along the line, aren't we supposed to win? It's got to scare the hell out of you. I'm not sure what the heck is going on out there, but we need more people like Elizabeth Warren to hold the feet to the fire. These 5 banks now that really control the economy of the United States in conjunction with the Federal Reserve need to be watched. Remember they talked about we're never again going to have a company that's too big to fail? Well, guess what Bank of America is? Too big to fail. That's exactly what's going on with them. You have to remember that when you have 5 banks that control the economy of our country, you are in desperate trouble. Think if you lose just one, what it does. Think about what we're talking about with regard to the sequestrations, how that affects us. A bank going down, one the size of a Bank of America? Think about what that would do to the economy, what that would do to business. And the problem is that by forgiving that $43.5 billion, guess what it does to Bank of America's bottom line? Really increases it, probably going to get more investors in Bank of America. I'd love to have a business where the government says, you can't lose because I'm guaranteeing your business. What a great way to go. I can't imagine having any better business than that. In AIG, who knows what's going on? They're still too big to fail. They should have been allowed to fail and have other companies take up that shortfall. I think that what's going on today is you're seeing the good old boys network in play. You're seeing it in the banking area. You're seeing it in the business area. You're certainly seeing it in government. The good old boys aren't doing a doggone thing for you and me. So at some point we have to wake up and we have to say, I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat or an independent. If you're not doing your job, I'm going to be watching you and I'm going to do everything in my power to have you removed. You know what? If you were in business and you had employees that were costing you money and making poor, bad judgment decisions, and every turn only did things that benefited them, what would be the first thing you would do? You'd tell them to hit the street. Don't let the door hit them in the butt on the way out. That's what we need to be doing to these legislators that are not putting us first. That's exactly what we need to do. You know what? If you want to contact me, if you've got questions, you have anything you want me to address here on the show, you can email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. And you can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Google+. You can go to YouTube and just do a search on the street, Robert Cardoza. And you can see my shows right there. They're segmentized. You can see any one segment that you want to see. Those are a way of just contacting you and being in communication with you. I want this show to deal with issues that you want to know about. It's really, really important to me that that's exactly what goes on. You know, you can go to my show during the week on any number of stations across the country. You can even catch it on Ustream TV. Just go to Ustream TV and look up On the Street. It's going to be right there. Or just the easier way, just go to biztv.com and you can watch the show right there. It's just a really great thing. Now, coming up next, we're going to have emails. We have some interesting emails. Today's emails are going to deal with tax law and what's going on with the taxes this year, some of the issues that the IRS has caused, some of the issues that you may need to know about that are going to help you make some decisions with regard to your taxes. But as far as the good news and the bad news, I'll tell you what, the good news is that we have the ability to continue in an upward thrust to improve the economy, to recover. The bad news is we have 535 people up in Washington, D.C. that are just fighting each other. You know what? I thought negotiation was a good thing in Washington, D.C. I've been looking at all these surveys where it says the Republicans agree with this and the Democrats agree with that. And they're agreeing, the majority of them, on a lot of issues. Probably close to 60% of the issues that deal with the economy, deal with the budget, deal with our futures tomorrow, 60% they agree with. So you want to answer for me, because I don't understand it, why don't they just pass that 60%? And then on a 40% they don't agree with, let's just hash that out and deal with it later. This is making no sense to me whatsoever. I don't see any future with the current legislation that is getting in the way. I really don't want to look at 4 more years like the last 4 years where one side fights the other and there is no meaningful progress for you and me. We are the country. It's not those 535 guys in Washington, D.C. It's you and me. That's who makes up this country. Now, you know, there's nothing more important than getting your questions answered. Email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. I'll answer your questions. You're watching On the Street. This is the intersection of business and politics. This is where I take all of your information, I put it into a funnel, see what comes out, I analyze it, and I give you the honest-to-God truth, unbiased, nonpartisan. I'm Robert Cardoza.